a lot to do, to see as they get up to celebrating their 1 year in office. I also tell everybody, you just don't need to stay at home telling your governor, the president to do something when you are doing nothing. Thank you very much.
We have obligations as citizens to play certain roles in different capacity. We'll get to that. Joining us also this morning is Ike Ogbonna. Good morning and welcome to Start Point.
Good morning, Mr. Moses. Should I drag it the way? Good morning, good morning.
I don't know. The other time I asked, why have you guys been intimidating me that you are from Abia? You are from Abia. You are from Abia State. When I am still in Abia State, it's good to hear from you. I'll see you this morning, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
But I don't know the band that the both of you belong to. Either band A, band B, band C, band D, or
Honestly,
band E. With regard to electricity distribution in Nigeria.
In fact, I'm hearing it for the first time today. You know, I don't know. I was confused. I said, which one is band A and band B? You know, so do they have different tariffs? The thing got me confused. I mean, I don't understand. Nigeria has become a country where every day you hear one different thing or the other.
You know, all these things usually come up whenever the federal government coughs that we'll do this, we'll withdraw this. Remember, recently talked about obliterating electricity tariff sometime last year. But the issue of the Nigerian Electricity Regulation Commission that has approved an increase in electricity tariff for customers under the Band A classification. This Band A has to do with these customers who enjoy approximately 20 hours of power supply. And then the band E, which I can say I belong to because I hardly see power supply.
I don't understand because I've been asking, do we really enjoy 20 hours power supply in this country?
When I got this
How
news,
possible can that be?
When I got this news yesterday, Sam, the first thing that came to my mind was that, okay, we are not even among the countries, African countries that, let's say, they are struggling to even generate, let's say, from 800,000 to 1 million megawatts of electricity, like of Egypt, Algeria, Morocco, even South Africa. Then from time to time, our country, through this regulatory commission or body, will come up to say, we are doing this, we are doing that. They have brought it down to 5 different categories. I know where Moses Ben belongs to already, because I don't see power in a week. I don't see power up to 4 hours, and then that 4 hours are customers who are within band E category. So it's a problem. Amazing. Well, since it's about just 15% of how many, about 12 million of Nigerians who have access to electricity. So this band A is just about 15%. So I believe they should stop there if at all they want to remove tariff from this category. The B, C, D, and E, I don't know what will happen to them. But our federal government, or this commission, before you know, they will bring it down to other categories. Give us power supply. We can generate. We have capacity to generate over 22,000 megawatts. But we have not gotten to that. We are still struggling between 3,500 and even 4,000. We have not exceeded 4,000 megawatt generation of power up until today, which is quite sad, gentlemen. I don't really know, Sam. Well, it's okay. You live with power anyway.
Well, just like where we are, we need power to do this thing that we are doing now. Just imagine without light here, Ben, nobody will hear you. You just be speaking to yourself. Especially to those that don't know how big and small a studio is. This is just not like a one-room apartment. We are talking. People can hear us because of light. And even the federal government know how important power is. So just like what you have said, if those that enjoy 20 hours, maybe they are the ones that, you know, whatever they are doing or trying to do now, they will look at it after all. We are enjoying the light, let's pay. But I believe in give me the light, I will pay.
Nigerians have this capacity to even afford this. If only you give them this service.
Just give me the light. I will pay for it. That's what we preach that now. Just like what you are doing here. If you're bringing your advert, you know the rate of Rapid. If you want to Rapid, people listen to Rapid. You want to place your advert on Rapid, you should be prepared to, you know, pay the money. So we want the light. The one that is so painful is that you don't even see the light and you are expected to pay. That is the problem with that. That's the one that is so painful. As Nigerians, let's see the light. Then rate us. Let everybody be on that band A.
If you can take everybody to band A, and then you give constant power supply, nobody will have a problem with fear.
Definitely, that's it. That's what Nigerians want. Yeah, I'm that Nigerian. I'm one of them.
All right, it is a serious matter anyway. If we can try as much as possible to generate megawatts that could serve this country, at times you will hear that Nigeria provides to this country and all of that. Yet, what are we doing? People's businesses have been going down because of power supply, go down to diesel price. People have not been able to operate their businesses because of the cost of diesel in the country. So, if we'll be able to man up and then see a way of securing a generation of megawatts in Nigeria that can serve the interest of Nigerians, will go a long way, as a matter of fact. An interesting one also yesterday, before we delve quickly into our conversation this morning, is the signing of the student loan bill into law by President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. Ike, your take on this one. Remember last year, was that June or July, he did a similar thing, but it didn't come to fruition. There were lots of issues that were conceived as a result of that. Then the Senate looked into it. Yesterday, finally, it got to become a law.
Yes, well, that's a step in the right direction. What remains to be seen is implementation. And then how are you going to spread these loans? You know, given the diverse nature of Nigeria, how are you going to accommodate the interest of students from all the geopolitical regions that make up this country? You know, so, well, it's a welcome development, but as always, you know, in terms of our challenges, is in the area of implementation. Let's hope it will be seamlessly implemented so that those who are entitled to it, just like the president said, there are people from poor homes who have brilliant children that needs to be encouraged. So, but how is it going to be implemented, or is it going to be hijacked by one, you know, authority somewhere who feels that let me hijack it and give it to my cronies and let me use to gratify some people? Let's hope it will be adequately implemented so that it can be properly, you know, circulated. Let it get to those that really need it. You know, we love it, but then implementation is the challenge, as always.
All right, I saw somewhere the family of the detained leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra wrote a letter sending it to Southeast leaders and stakeholders that they should stand up and then they should turn a new leaf by showing interest in the release of Mazi Nnamdi KANU and also other issues that will form our conversation on Standpoint this morning. We are live on our Facebook page and as well on our YouTube page, Rapid 96.5 FM. Get down there and let us have your comments. We have joining us in the studio this morning to look at all these issues. Former chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association, Section on Public Interest and Development Law, NBA Spidle. Former second vice president of the Nigerian Bar Association, special advisor to the Senate president of the Nigerian Senate, Legal, Dr. Monday Onyekachi Ubani. Some people will say MOU. A very good morning to you, sir, and welcome to Standpoint.
Yeah, thank you, Ben.
It's good to see you and have you in our studio, sir.
Yes, Ben, thank you for having me.
We've been seeing you on screen, so you're welcome once again.
Thank you.
So to be a robust conversation this morning, at the appropriate time, the phone lines will be open for you to also participate and let us have your opinion and comments on most of these issues that we'll be looking at this morning on Standpoint. On March the 12th, 2024, the Senate sent Abdul Ninge on 3-month suspension over his claim that the 2024 budget was padded to the tune of 3.7 trillion naira. This issue generated controversies from all quarters as people agitated against the move by the Senate, that the action by the Senate was uncalled for. And also recently, was that a week now, that the suspended senator, through his lawyer, Femi Falana, said that, okay, it's illegal. Your action that you took on my client is quite illegal. At this point, we are calling for reinstatement. So let us bring you in this morning on this particular issue. You are very much aware of this development. The budget of 28.7 trillion naira at the point. And Ningi said that we don't know where the 3-point-something trillion naira is going into at the moment. But the action by the Senate, at this point, everybody is pointing at the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio. Why is Akpabio solely pointed at and accused of illegality over the suspension of the suspended Bauchi Central Senatorial Representative, Senator Abdul Ninge?
You asking me why Akpabio is singled out. You watched the proceeding. Was he a Senate that was composed of only Akpabio? I mean, talking about the proceeding of suspension, he only presided over the process. And you remember somebody moved a motion That motion was supported by another senator before it was ruled on. The issue was even others were clamoring that he should be suspended for a year. Some say 6 months. And so when eventually they now arrive at 3 months, I watched the proceeding myself. Those in favor of 3 months suspension should say aye. The aye, they said, people there said aye. Then those in opposition said nay. The nay were louder. Then Akpabio, in his good manner and good heart, said the ayes have it. So it means that even those who wanted 3 months, who got the 3 months suspension, where wasn't the majority for extra in months of suspension were more than those who voted for 3 months. So eventually dropped the gavel for 3 months. Now, what happened was that Ningi went to BBC, I think Hausa version, in order to make allegation of 3-point-something trillion that was not part of the budget of 2024. That what was passed was 25 trillion. But eventually, when given the opportunity to explain what he meant, and then they now read all the figures of the statutory allocation, all totaling 3-point-something, in addition to the 25, everything came up to 28 plus trillion. And the presidency has also come up to say this is what we sent, 27 plus, and then you added this, in addition, which is normal for the Legislative Assembly, and the budget was passed and presented. So making that allegation, and then he was given opportunity. Then when the chairman of the appropriation committee read out all the statutory allocation, everything now came up to 28. So meaning that he did not do proper consultation. He was not really sure of his facts before going to the press. And that was outside, the Senate chambers, where he enjoys immunity. He enjoys immunity while proceeding goes on in the Senate chamber. But outside, you no longer enjoy any immunity. Anything you say against the institution that you belong will be examined in accordance with their ethics. So when they now gave him opportunity in a live program to actually debunk or even apologize, he was still now talking about constituency project, different from the 3-point-something trillion he was alleging, because that was satisfactorily explained to him. That this is where those figures you say were padded and all that, where they are statutory allocations, and they mentioned them, everything tallied. So when he found out that he couldn't move any inch further without his argument, the next thing that was the issue of constituency thing, which is different from his allegation, and then even for the fact that according to him, the Northerners were not included in the budget. He was given the impression as if the budget was now the Southern budget, and not that the North were not part of it. So that they considered unethical, that they considered not clearly in compliance with the internal rules of the senators, and they have their rules, which they map out to discipline their members and all that. But I heard that rule says only 14 days, if you are to suspend, and not even up to that number of months. Now they impose the penalty on. So that is the issue. So the issue was that he made allegation that he could not substantiate. And when he couldn't do that, they felt that, look, you have run foul of the normal ethics, as a senator, and then they had to now take disciplinary measures against him.
All right, this is approximately 3 weeks since the suspension.
Yes.
And this is the senator representing Bauchi Central Senatorial District.
Yes.
Obviously, as a result of that suspension, that senatorial district has been denied representation.
That's correct.
What is the position of the Constitution on this issue?
The position of the decided cases is that anyone that is elected by the people should represent, those people that have elected him throughout the duration of his tenure, and at no point should that be denied. But you find out that those cases have not got up to Supreme Court, because just like you are here now, you work in this organization, there are internal rules and regulations. Are you saying because of the fact that you enjoy the right of employment, then you can do anything, within your employment, and then may not be punished, may not be in any way sanctioned? they have their internal rules that says, look, yes, you're a senator representing people, but you must also conform with, basic tenets of your office, as a senator, a distinguished senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But the moment you go contrary to certain ethical standard within, then you can be punished. But I don't know whether that punishment should include the issue of suspension, making it impossible now for you to adequately represent your people. There must be a balancing. And I think we may have to wait and probably get a Supreme Court pronouncement when the matter eventually get up to Supreme Court. Yes, you are supposed to represent. Yes, you are supposed to abide by ethics. Now, you create a balance. Now, if this person that's supposed to represent, comes into the Senate chambers and now begin to misbehave and then goes contrary to the ethical standard, set by members, for the members of the distinguished house, will it mean that he will not in any way be sanctioned, no disciplinary measures, because he's representing people? And even if he's going to be punished, does he have to include suspension, so that he doesn't represent his people anymore for that duration of the suspension? Or what other measures do we think is necessary and appropriate in order to mete out to somebody we feel has clearly committed an unethical conduct, within the time he's representing his people? So there must be a striking of balance. That's what I'm trying to say. It does not mean because I'm a senator then I can do anything, I can say anything, even destroy the institution that I'm representing. Are you following me? Because I'm a senator, I'm representing my people. In the first place, did they send me in order to actually mismanage my behavior? Or begin to cause reputational issue, even to my constituency, because it also, whatever he does that is clearly unethical, affect those he's representing. So did they send him to do that? Did they send any person to go and cause havoc and destroy the institution that you are representing? So these are issues that will come up, even as this matter goes further, in the ladder of judicial decision, whether this can be canvassed. Yes, you are representing certain people. They elected you to go and represent. What manner of representation? Must you now go in and then breach ethics of that institution that you are a member? And if you do, would there not be punishment at all? Or because you are representing people, then you now have what you call immunity against any punishment, against any disciplinary measures. So you need to balance these things. So for me, there has been a decision of the court, but that matter has not come up to Supreme Court level to look at it. Let people canvass. Let the opposite, the other people say, this is what I think is right. He's representing people. Nobody has the right to truncate that representation. And at any point in time, even when he has committed any infraction, allow him to, because he is elected by the people. The people say, no, I agree that he's representing people, but must he now commit any unethical and be allowed to get away with it and have what you call constant immunity and do anything and even want to destroy the institution that he's representing? So the court now maybe the Supreme Court will finally make a pronouncement and say, okay, based upon this, even if there's going to be any punishment, this punishment should not be issue of truncating the representation. Are you following me? There must be a balance. That's my argument.
All right. When this issue came up freshly, Nigerians countered it that the approach of suspending it was too swift, that you should have taken a different action or approach in addressing that issue. But since we've discovered that the Senate, the committee responsible for the budget of the thing, came up and reeled out how things were spelled out until they arrived at the exact amount, yes. I believe Nigerians would want to see it from that angle too, that this issue has been addressed in that regard. Let us come down to our dear state, Abia State. You are from Abia State, Ikwa, precisely, sir. And then, under this government, you've been following issue even while you've not been around, talking about a word of, they call it road infrastructure revolution. That's how I term it myself because of what is happening under the leadership of Dr. Lex Oti. Just recently, last week, he awarded the Isukwato about 11.5 kilometer road, as he did to others, Arochukwu, the Ozuakoli or Hafia road as well, about 67 kilometer, 30 kilometer for Arochukwu. The Port Harcourt road of 6-point-something kilometer has been there. Let us have your submission on this issue of road infrastructure revolution under Governor Lex Ote.
There is no way you can make progress in Nigeria without dealing with basic infrastructures. The infrastructural deficiency over time have made it practically impossible for the country to actually, move forward like other nations. We travel to other nations and you see that these things, we really praise our leaders here when they do a bit of it, it's taken for granted. In fact, over time, when there is any small spot, any small problem on the road, they will close that road, and overnight they will fix it, making it easy for you to move. Because when you move, you have this electricity. You were discussing about electricity, and my brother was emphasizing the importance that without it, there is no life. Energy. Energy is key. It's critical in every facet of life. And it's funny that some people, you put them in band A and some people in band B. Why will you put somebody in band B? Honestly. And you are very proud saying that there are people that do not have light, but there are those who have 20 hours of light. So we are celebrating, that kind of a feat or achievement. So it's not an achievement. We need to be ashamed of ourselves, because if we go to other smaller countries and see that these people enjoy uninterrupted light, that these people have good roads, even in African continent, I'm not talking about Europe, then you now begin to wonder why we should not. That you walk, that you are coming to a place. Look, I just passed through Ikote Bene Road now, for God's sake. This contract was awarded 2019. And see what is going on there. I'm not satisfied. I am not. The truth of the matter is, we're supposed to dualize that Ikote Bene Road.
Absolutely, yes.
Because that takes you to Akwa Ibom, takes you to Calabar, takes you to Cameroon. But look at what is going for over 4 or 5 years now. Look at what is going on there, as if we're kids, So I am very happy that Dr. Alex Oti, who comes from the private sector, knows the importance of those basic infrastructures, and he's dealing with them to the extent that everyone today in the country knows that Abia State Governor, is really trying to make nonsense of other governors who've been there, who receive even bigger allocations. And
by trying to make nonsense, how do you mean, sir?
Well, he makes them look, they were not working. They didn't work. Somebody will be there for 8 solid years, nothing to show. No single infrastructure that you can say this is a standard road. Even as I speak to you in Nigeria today, if you really travel to Europe and come back to Nigeria, you will just weep, because there is no single standard road as I speak in Nigeria.
But will it not be unfair, sir, for you to say that other administrations who were not there didn't work, didn't do anything?
There is nothing that that you call legacy project. That's what they call legacy project. When you go to Akwa Ibom, and the Ubani, and see the kind of project that these governors, when they were there, did, you call them legacy. People, things that are lasting. I have a relation that came to see me yesterday and said he just went to Akwa Ibom. He married, and I'm surprised he didn't go there when he was marrying the girl. Maybe they married in Lagos, but he just went recently because they lost a relation. I said, when I went there, from every village, everywhere, from one local government to other, it's easy. The movement
properly networked.
He was praising. This is what we call legacy. Abia, for how many years? Over 24 years. There is no single place you can say this is a legacy project in Abia. There's none. None. So, the man, under how many months, has been able to now manifest.
It still worries me, sir. You come down to your point, but it still worries me. You said non-legacy project.
You are here.
In the Okezie Ipazo administration.
I don't know where you come from.
The Okezie administration.
Name one legacy. Which one?
We've seen the construction of a flyover.
Which flyover?
We've seen the construction of flyover down there. So, are you trying to say that the money that we're giving to this project, we are not actually actualized, sir?
Ben, I don't even know how to
tell him about the flyover. Which flyover?
I don't know how to respond to. You mean that for 24 years, you put that particular decision that has no economic value? I don't even know, what problem that particular flyover that they put there, is solving for Abia State. When I mean about legacy project, I'm talking about a project that when you cite, you consider the economic, you consider the political, you consider the social, you consider you put all the considerations, and you know that this thing has really solved a big problem. When you're entering Umuahia from Adaya, Enugu Road, and then you are coming from Imo, you know that this and all that.
All right.
If you come there during December period when people have arrived, you know, from various places, you know, to come to Umuahia, you can sometimes. I have stayed there one particular time for 4-5 hours, trying to assess, you know, Umuahia because of hold up. For 20-something years, no single governor was able to say, look, what do we do in order to ensure that such suffering of people who are coming during December do not happen on that particular axis. You know the road I'm talking about, the place I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about, legacy project. You put it and it solves a lot of problem. So I have not, and I'm being sincere, and I'm not trying to bring down any particular government. That is nothing these guys did. The only thing I'm hearing now is that they have a share in a geometrics, you know, that's Abia, you know, that it was under occasion. I said that is good. That is being thoughtful. If he, you know, realize the importance of this power energy and that this man is going to be the savior of the southeastern region, you know, in issue of energy, and they now bought into the shares and all that, that is being thoughtful. That is what I mean by legacy thing. I hear that happened under his administration. Kudos. If I see any good thing that anyone does, you know, for God's sake, we don't need to, you know, condemn everything. But I'm saying there is, for 24 years, there is no single thing in terms of road infrastructure. You can see that these guys were able to say, look, let me do this so that people can. It's not as if allocation was not coming. Allocation was coming to the state. Allocation was coming even at the local government level. If you see how much that came to all the local governments that were squandered, that made the local government administration to be zero and nil, you know. But we have left the past, and the question you're asking me now is what, you know, Alex is doing. And I'm saying that Dr. Alex, His Excellency, you know, is really, you know, making some of us who come from this state once again to feel very proud and say, God, I thank God that I am from Abia State. I thank God that, you know, I was part of it, you know, that you said that this is what should happen. We should be able to bring somebody who has actually over time showed a level of consistency in terms of offering alternative, you know, position in governance. Even when he was called names, the man remained very resilient and resist and say, I will, you know, change the narrative of Abia State. And God now gave him that opportunity, you know, through all forces, including the woman that refused to be compromised. I'm talking about the INEC woman. You know, I mean, the woman that, you know, presided over the electoral process, you know, last year. You know, so God used everyone to ensure that Dr. Alex emerged as the governor, and he is making everyone happy. And that is the truth, including those who may not like his face and all that. Alex is making everyone to feel very proud, coming from Abia State, God's own country, you know, state. I was wondering at the time, you call this particular state God's own, you know, state. How come devil, you know, is actually making headquarters here, you know, and there is nothing moving forward in terms of, you know, even nightlife. Yeah. If you come at 7 o'clock, everyone has gone to bed in Abia State. There was no nightlife, there was no economic activity. But look at what is happening. By the time the man finished opening up all the roads, the next thing he has to tackle is the issue of electricity. With geometrics, if he can be able to remove Enugu Disco and take over the entire local government and let geometrics start by giving all the 17 local government light and then extend it to all other states in the southeastern region, we may not even be going for presidency. I'm just saying, if the Igbos, you know, build the economy, build the economy of the southeastern region, if we become envy of other regions, it's only for the governors to come together and say, we are going to interconnect economically, we are going to interconnect politically. We will make the region to be a cynosure, an example of what development can take place, especially by the genius. You know, Igbos are very hardworking, very intelligent. I'm proud to be an Igbo man.
All right, Doc, before we leave this issue, these projects are quite laudable.
Yes.
Everybody says one or two things about this project.
Yes, sir.
But another angle to this, The issue of a Port Harcourt 6-point-something kilometer, we heard then that it was about 30 billion naira.
Yes.
So there's a big concern because government is accountable to the people who elected them into these offices. That this project so far awarded by the present administration under Dr. Alex Otte, there is nowhere we can find figures being accountable, transparent to the people. How much is being given to this particular project, such as the Arochukwu reconstruction, Isukwato, the Ohafia? How much of money that have been involved? We have not seen it. Is it a concern to you?
Journalists, you people have to do your job. You have to do your job. Dr. Alex Otte comes from a private sector. He knows the meaning of transparency. He promised it. I was part of the people that he inaugurated in order to give agenda of his government. Part of the thing we emphasize is transparency in governance and then being accountable. So I'm saying if there is any contract that Dr. Alex Otte has awarded that is not clear, bring him on. Bring him into let's take him on. Everyone should. How much is this particular project? And then we place it in context with other projects, and the same, kilometers that have been done previously in other states or even in the state. So it's important that we ensure that transparency is part of, the government structure. They cannot in any way run a governance where they are not going to be held. I won't be part of this and another. So I'm saying it is my responsibility, it's your responsibility to ask questions. And I think that at any point in time, Dr. Alex Otte will be in a position to give account and give figures to anything that he's doing. If it is too much, we have to criticize and no, we want transparency. We want you also to work in the interest of the people. So I will not in any way support lack of transparency in governance. So anything you are saying, let the journalists, let everyone be up and doing. We must also have opposition that will also be asking questions, but in an intelligent manner. Please give us the figures. Do you know that under Freedom of Information Act, you can ask for, questions? The law empowers you to demand, that this particular contract you have awarded, how much is set? And if they fail to give an information, you go to court. You go to court in order to get that particular order, made in your favor. That particular disinformation must be, divulged to you under Freedom of Information Act. So I think I won't like to join others to say, if I have not done what I'm supposed to do, and then there is no question asked, so how much is this particular contract, and they now fail to disclose. It's now when they fail to disclose, then it becomes an issue.
All right, another decisive action taken by this administration, precisely last month, people have welcomed the development, but we'll get your opinion as an Abian, an expert in the field of law. We're talking about abolition of pensions to former governors and deputy governors. I know there are states that you fine up to 4-3 vehicles, perhaps after 3 years or 4 years, to previous or former governors and deputy governors. The House of Assembly passed that bill. Finally, the governor assented to the bill. It has become a law in Abia State. Former governors and deputy governors are not entitled to any payment at all. What do you make of it? Bearing the fact that people have said also that those who have served in certain capacities should be given pension, that they have worked in different capacity also.
Yeah, what happened with those laws? It started with Lagos State. Was this President Tinubu, that his State House of Assembly passed such a bill, into law, and the amount of money, the amount of assets that the bill, is assigned to those leaders in the state were very outrageous. Especially considering the economic life, or viability of those states. They were very, very, very questionable and very annoying. And these are people who were governors for 8 solid years, acquired so much money. Of course, when you're a governor in Nigeria for 1 week, you're already a billionaire. And that is the truth because of unhindered access to treasury. They have unhindered access, So having been blessed with that, you now keep your state that you have governed into perpetual, slavery and poverty. While there are those who have worked, who are not being paid, you, the governor, the deputy, are being paid humongous. Humongous is the amount of thing they have lined up for themselves. I'm not saying that if somebody has work, you should not be able to, but compare it to what people have done. In various, for many years they worked that something years in service, and then you come out, you are being given peanut. You are not. Sometimes you are not even given anything at all. But the governor is saying there, you give him, you change his car, you change his furniture, you change his television, you change. In fact, if possible, you can even change his wife. So why would you want such thing to continue? Which is another thing that has made Dr. Alex Oti, to be really looked upon, by people. He's going to be a beneficiary, but the man said no. Yeah. I'm not going to. I don't want to be a beneficiary of this. This is clearly madness. I'm not going to be part of it, and he abolished it. That's why people now, he's endearing himself to people's heart. Yeah. He is now a man that people look at. He's working in the interest of the people. I'm not saying that nobody, if you have work, you should not, But the point is that the humongous amount that these guys are allocated to themselves, while the state is bleeding, you are enjoying. He said, no, that cannot continue. So I think I am very happy, with the abrogation of that particular law. Even they themselves who have been beneficiaries also will heave a sigh of relief, because it is a moral burden. Every month or every year you get such things, whereas your state is bleeding and they're not doing well economically. You see the level of poverty in the eyes of people, in the face of people, and you are collecting such. Is that not a moral, condemnation on you? So I think that most of them will be very happy for what has happened. And Dr. Alex Oti, supposed to be a beneficiary after he has probably left off. Is he not? But now the man said, no, I don't want to be a beneficiary of this. This is a hist. I'm not going to be part of it. So I think he should be commended and not condemned, for doing that.
All right, you've been a very strong fighter, an advocate when it comes to the release of the detained leader of proscribed indigenous people of Biafra.
That's correct.
However, this conversation is live on our Facebook page and also on a YouTube page, Rapid 96.5 FM. Get down there, let us have your comment and your opinion on these issues we are looking at. Last court sitting, Nnamdi KANU was denied a bail, and then he made a very critical statement that if they allowed him out of that place, in 2 minutes, there will be utmost peace in the entire Southeast, not just one state in Southeast. Of course, that's one comment for another day. But just yesterday also, the family of Nnamdi KANU brought up a letter calling on stakeholders, leaders of the Southeast region, to stand up when it comes to the release of Mazi Nnamdi KANU. What could this really mean at this point in time? I understand that it would be arraigned again either this month or so before the court.
The 1999 Constitution guarantees you fundamental human right. And the law presumes anyone that is accused of any crime to be innocent. In other words, you are not yet, if you are not yet convicted, the law gives you all the due regards and respect in terms of your freedom of movement and liberty. Now, you bring somebody, you say he has committed an offense, no problem. You must try as much as possible to expedite the trial process, which has not been what is going on with Nnamdi matter. Nnamdi matter started from the Federal High Court, went to Court of Appeal. Court of Appeal says, look, the process through which you brought him into the country was clearly illegal. And for that foundational error, then there is no charge against you. Fine. You went to Supreme Court. I was in Supreme Court when the judgment was delivered. I went there for my own matter. And I was there, and I was, I was very happy that the Supreme Court will finally, end the crisis in the southeastern region. But unfortunately, the Supreme Court says yes, for whatever it's worth, even if there is any crime that Nnamdi has committed. But the judgment of the Court of Appeal by saying because of the process that he is now exonerated from all charges, there is no constitutional, there is no legal jurisprudence backing that particular position of the law. I heard the court clearly. That is what they said. For whatever it's worth, they condemn even the issue of trying to pursue Nnamdi KANU outside the country while he was on bail. The Supreme Court condemned it. The Supreme Court condemned the process of his the way they brought him back. The Supreme Court, meaning that even bringing him back, the Supreme Court. But the only problem, and I heard the Supreme Court loud and clear, was that there is no foundation on our law that says the process you bring somebody in, if it is faulty, it means that you cannot charge him for anything. So for whatever is what, let the matter go back. If there's any charge, let them go and prove their case. But the Supreme Court already made nonsense of all the charges. So having said that, my take is, look, in the light of what is happening in the southeastern region, where some criminals are taking undue advantage of Nandem's incarceration, will a new government not be interested in creating some level of peace in any region? Tinubu's government, I'm sure, must be very interested in peace in the southeast, must be interested in the north, must be interested in the south, So if there is something that is causing crisis in any region, you will look at it holistically and say, what do we do in this circumstance? This man has been incarcerated for a very long time. Get him out on bail. Give him bail. Nnamdi KANU was on bail before he was pursued outside the country. The bail was never revoked, sir. There were conditions for his bail. The bail was never revoked. They would have allowed him, to come to court. Let them come and tell the court why they should revoke his bail. His bail was never revoked. Rather, he was pursued outside the country because only a tree, you say, I'm going to cut you. Yeah. And the tree will be saying, come and cut me. Because they were almost after his life. So the man ran. Now, having done that, and you have now brought him back, whether legally or illegally, and you want to try him, for God's sake, why don't you grant him bail? And some governors in the eastern region are saying, we are ready to stand as surety for him. Stakeholders are saying, give us Nnamdi KANU. We are ready so that even if there is any trial, he can be coming from his house, just like Sowore was doing, until finally this particular government says there is no case against him, and he has been discharged and acquitted. He has gone back to America. The same thing with Sondo Igboho, who was even arrested outside. I think his matter has also ended and he's back to the country. So to create some level of peace and in our region, in the eastern region, and the government knows that this particular region is economic, and Igbos they are commercially minded, they're economically minded. But because of this issue of sit at home, you have crippled economic activities in the southeastern region. Will any government not be interested in anything that will create some level of peace? Getting Nnamdi KANU out of prison will create level of peace and sanity in the southeastern region. And that's why I am saying, if a government is interested in peace, in the southeastern region, one of the panacea, one of the thing they have to do, one of the conditions is to make sure that this young man is granted bail.
All right, Doc. 09160 000965 or 09160 333 965. We are live on our Facebook page and also YouTube page, Rapid 96.5 FM. Keep the conversation concise. A very good morning to you and welcome to Standpoint.
Good morning.
You're welcome, sir. Good morning.
Thank you, Mr. Ben.
All right.
My Honorable Barrister, Monday Ubani.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
I always call him man of God. My name is Mr. Chijoke.
Thank you, sir.
I'm calling from Benjerodombaya.
All right.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Morning, my brother.
When you talk on radio, people doesn't know you would think that you are just talking. This is your character. I know how many times I met him. He's a man who always believes in the truth. He does not compromise. Even if most of us feel that a lawyer doesn't tell the truth. But he's a man, he's number one person I can believe in. He always says the truth the way it is. That is why federal government always afraid of him. I am not trying to praise empty drone. I am praising somebody who has something inside, who has contributed for masses for all these years. And I pray that God will continue to preserve you and your family, sir.
Thank you,
Good morning, sir.
Thank you,
All right, Chijoke, thank you. Our colleagues are still very much around, but Sam, I know there are other things we want to find out from Doc and Ike. We'll do that this morning. Let's speak with this caller. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
You're welcome.
Mr. Speaker, Mama no. Because one of them work doctor Olundibo Ubani. Good morning, Papa.
Sir.
Ala pom mamaze esim na ngoda akoli menyi na akpo. One of them na se Chineke gba ume. Ya na ni he de mo mpe ukwu we kele. Maka na se gba na akpokwu isi akpo ahụ ọnụ. Ọ ka nwa ihe ọma ime na land parliamentary ase kwụrụ ya ụgwọ. Eze nwatakịrị phone nwa 14 years. Ma ọ dị ihe ọzọ anyị tụwa ego ahụ, o nwere ike ma atụ nke m ga-eji aṅụ mmanya lista. But Chineke mere ebere gaa eme ihe dum. Na-ekele. Thank you very much.
All right. All right, thank you for calling. Okay. We please redial the number. Sincere apologies. You redial the number so you complete your opinion. Sam, a very quick one. Why we still concentrate on our call? Meanwhile, after the news light, we extend by 10 minutes, so we accommodate much from Doc this morning.
Actually, everything he has said about Abia. I'm from Abia, so
you said that thing again.
Yeah, no,
you said that thing again. You and I on Tuesday. You said that thing again. When you say you are from Abia, are you intimidating me?
No, so that the people listening will know where we are coming from.
Okay.
Because for me, it's only a man or a woman that actually doesn't like anything good.
That's right.
And that will stand up and say that what he or she is saying now is not good at all.
Right.
But I would have loved to ask a question going back to Ningi's story. Now, Ningi, are we saying that Ningi is a novice? Because remember the president said he doesn't know maths and calculation.
And this is somebody that has been at the Senate for years.
Since 2011, he has been there.
AIDS.
So he knows what padding is all about. Are we saying that there's nothing like padding?
What happened is that we must insist on transparency in everything. You know what? When they pass budget, they don't usually disclose the statutory allocations. That is why the problem is. It was when he made that allegation in the House, the appropriation committee chairman, the Yoruba Olamileko, now read out all the statutory allocation, judiciary, he mentioned it. By the time he totaled it, everything came up to that 3-point-something trillion. He was alleging was missing from the budget. So the thing is when we must begin to insist on transparency, let everything be open. So that is actually what happened. He was not as if he doesn't know mathematics, but he didn't know those allocations, we are there. Statutory allocations of all those statutory, there are, first line charge. Those, were there. And so that constitute what made it to 28 trillion. And the presidency said, look, we couldn't have even, be talking about 25 trillion because we sent 27 plus budget. And then the House now added 1 point. Everything came up to 28. So it's not as if one is saying he's a novice, and it was the issue of disclosing all the things he didn't know. So when they now pointed it out to him, he himself realized. At the time he wanted to apologize, but they now, deviated into issue of constituency project, which was not part of his allegation anyway.
Okay. All right. Ike, I will come over to you, but let's return to our phone lines. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Moses Ben.
You're welcome, sir. Your name and location, please be audible.
Good morning, my honorable barrister, Dr. Monday.
Morning, sir.
My name is Ezekiel, aka the youngest and young in Africa. Calling from Strato. My honorable barrister, I want to thank you for the gift of phone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, my brother.
May God bless you abundantly.
Amen.
Now, coming to the issue of God, we are talking about electricity. Everything is increasing and increasing. Me and a bad news. Let them do something about this electricity stuff. Thanks and have a nice day.
All right, thank you so much. We appreciate your contribution. A very good morning to you and welcome to Standpoint.
Good morning, my moderator.
Good morning, you're welcome.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, you're welcome, sir.
I'm hearing you.
Yeah. My name is Adi and I'm from Ubani.
All right.
Honorable Ubani, good morning.
Morning, bro.
Good morning, doctor.
Morning, sir.
Please, I so much appreciate the movement of Monday Ubani over our.
Oh, quite unfortunate. That's what we'll be dealing with. Electricity tariff. I don't know what will happen to this one next. Good morning and welcome to Standpoint.
Good morning, Mr. Ben.
You're welcome, sir.
Good morning, Saman. Good morning, Dr. Morning,
Morning, bro.
Is that who say man no day?
Him. God. The other person.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning. Hugo Seman is coming from Ubani.
All right.
Dr. Monday, I want to appreciate you. Most times you're a man of reputation.
Thank you, sir.
The issue of Nnamdi Kanu, the way you have been addressed it here, you've been addressing it is a welcome development. And I still believe that you have what it takes to continue his support here out of competent jurisdiction, we are the presidency. We just released this our brother for crying out loud, releasing for the peace with return to the southeast and south as well. It's a welcome development. This should say concerning I am Dr. Alex in as much as he's trying his best. But where I have my reservation is there. They are not transparent enough to tell audience how much that has come in as an allocation, how much that has borrowed, and how much a kilometer of road is cost. I overheard our brother Ben asking you, will it be justifiable and how much they are using to you can't tell me that 6 kilometers road or 5.9 kilometers road will be cost about 32 billion naira. And people will be passing. So, and secondly, if you have got the award given to him, it's a welcome development. I think that he have he have done more important than his presidency. But to me, you can't compare what his allocation is today and what previous administration received as allocation. And secondly, stomach infrastructure is not very necessary. One person in the state are crying. Why can't this present government look the affairs of workers? We are talking about the using and when I keep saying any foundation that is laid on life will not stand the test of time. They came about, they said that the pension from 20.
All right, run of your points, sir.
This is for that. The pension chairman in Abia said that it was time there was what was paid. So I want and I expected them to be more transparent.
All right,
so that others will continue to enjoy the dividend of democracy. That belongs to all of us.
All right,
so
all right, Usman, you've used your time. Thank you. All right, thank you so much. We appreciate your contribution. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Mosi.
Please make it concise.
Good morning, Mr. Mosi.
Good morning.